More kids are catching coronavirus, by far the most vulnerable population right now. Joining me live to talk a little bit about why children are becoming more infected is Dr. Vernon Rayford. How are you doing this afternoon, Dr. Rayford?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me on.
Well, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. So what are some of the symptoms that parents need to look for right now?
Yeah, so for older kids, verbal kids, similar to symptoms in adults, and particularly symptoms that are new: cough, runny nose, sore throat, fevers, headaches. For those kids who are not verbal, a change in activity level, a change in appetite, testing for fever in particular. And again, I really want to highlight new onset of symptoms. And with such high levels of virus in the community, if things are new onset of sneezing, new onset of sniffles, new onset of stuffy nose, it's the safest approach to get that evaluated for COVID because there's just so much COVID in the community.
And, I know for adults, sometimes we get kind of confused wondering whether or not we have a sinus infection or could this be COVID-19. Is there any way you can really tell the difference without getting tested?
No, actually, testing is the best way to determine the difference. And again, I really encourage people to do it because there's so much virus in the community.
Mhm.
There's just so many contacts with people who are potentially spreading the virus. And so, again, my usual thing to tell everybody, adults and kids, any new symptoms that could potentially be COVID,
Mhm.
it's best to get it evaluated by being tested.
And as a pediatrician, how many cases are you actually seeing weekly?
Well, the number has certainly increased dramatically. We've had a ton of cases that have come through the emergency rooms, the urgent care, the pediatricians' offices, just like in other parts of the state and most of the southeast. The numbers are, we are still seeing a higher and higher number of pediatric cases every week. If you look at Mississippi cases, national cases, every week we're seeing a higher number of pediatric infections than we've seen so far in the pandemic. And that has a lot to do with the high levels of COVID-19 in the community,
Mhm.
the significantly increased contagiousness of the Delta variant, and we have gotten our kids back to in-person schools with varying levels of mitigation strategies. And so all of those things are working together to give us record-breaking numbers every week.
All right, then. Well, Dr. Vernon Rayford, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. And later on in the show, I just want everyone to know that Dr. Rayford, along with the Mississippi Legislative Black Caucus, you all are hosting a vaccination event this week, and we'll hear from Representative Ricky Thompson later on in the broadcast. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.